Bourbon and a Baby.
Hello, welcome to Bourbon and a Baby. My name is Jay. Max is not going to be joining us today because Max is only 3 years old and he's too young to be drinking at the Renaissance of Tiffin. Alright, and I have a special treat today because today I'm going to be reviewing Weller C.Y.P.B. Craft Your Perfect Bourbon. Alright, so as I review this Weller C.Y.P.B, first of all, I want to give a big shout out and thanks to the Renaissance of Tiffin, a 1920s Prohibition era bourbon bar in the heart of downtown Tiffin with one of the best bourbon selections you're going to find in Northwest Ohio, if not throughout the entire state. So if you're ever in the area, please stop on by and check it out. So thanks to the Renaissance for allowing me to do this review here. So a little bit about Weller C.Y.P.B. Weller comes from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Their famous Weller line, they have Weller Special Reserve, Weller Antique 107, and now they've expanded that to the Weller C.Y.P.B, the Weller Full Proof. They do Weller Single Barrels. And this is just an extension of, you know, a brand that is just super popular and hard to find anymore because of how popular it is. But what they were trying to do with the C.Y.P.B is a few years ago they did this online survey where they kind of asked people and they gave them options. It was kind of a cool little thing. I filled it out at the time, I remember, kind of just asking kind of what you liked about bourbon, and you know, would you want it to be a wheated recipe or a rye recipe or a high rye recipe? And they gave you options and kind of gave you descriptions of what those would be, and then you'd go through the process and select it. You know, would you want it to be 2 to 4 years old or 4 to 8 years old, or you know, they had a bunch of different options. And then they asked kind of what level of the rickhouse would you want it stored. You know, if it's stored at the top, you get these, you know, different flavors. If it's stored in the middle, and if it's stored lower, and so on and so forth, right? So what they did was they took the results of all of those surveys that people filled out and kind of figured out what the most popular of them were, and then you have Weller C.Y.P.B, Craft Your Perfect Bourbon. So let me just read a little bit about where this comes from. So yeah, Weller is their wheated recipe. So they use wheat instead of rye. It's aged on the highest warehouse floors, and it's aged for 8 years and then bottled at 95 proof. So that was the consensus of what people thought they were looking for when they filled out the survey. Now, what I think would be neat, and I don't know if they plan on doing this in the future or not, but I think it would be kind of cool if they did different iterations of this and, you know, kind of redid the survey every couple of years to see if like that changes, and you know, maybe the next one people chose a rye recipe at the lower warehouse levels at maybe 6 years or something, and they would do potentially different batches of this. I think that would be a cool idea. Don't know if that's in their plans or not. Anyway, let's check the nose on this. It's like really sweet up front, but also kind of has that characteristic of what I like a lot about Weller Antique 107, which is I get a lot of cinnamon notes, and I'm definitely getting the cinnamon here in the Weller C.Y.P.B. But it's light, it's soft, it's sugary. There's like a little bit of like brown sugar cinnamon going on. It smells really good. Let's go in for the palate. Cheers. Okay. This is good. The thing about Weller C.Y.P.B, before I really get into the tasting notes, it's super hard to get. The first time I've seen a bottle of it in person. So on the secondary market, this stuff goes for pretty high prices. Just a quick search before I filmed this, I was seeing it listed for like $850. I don't know if it actually sells for that, but that's where I was kind of seeing it listed at. And so retail for this, if you're able to get lucky and get it at retail, or maybe win a lottery in your state or something, is $49.99. So massive difference there between retail, $50, to secondary market, you know, anywhere from, you know, up to $850. I'm sure it doesn't normally sell that high, but I'm sure there's people out there that pay $500 for this. Anyway, this is, like I said, before I get into the tasting notes, this is really good, but it doesn't strike me as like being super ultra premium to be worth paying $500 to $800 for. But yeah, definitely right up front, I would certainly pay $50 for this. So yeah, I get a lot of brown sugar, a little bit of molasses. I get that cinnamon. At 95 proof, it's super smooth. It's not, there's no like heat or bite to it at all. You can really taste the oak. So, you know, that being 8 years in a barrel, just really shines through. This really, without, you know, comparing them side by side, reminds me a lot of Weller Antique 107, which, you know, is at 107 proof. Personally, I would say that this is just like a, you know, a 12 proof point less version of that. So while it's really cool and exciting to try this and to drink it, it's definitely not something that I would hunt for and overpay for. Again, if I were to win a lottery and get this for $49.99, I would buy it all day long. I would buy as many of them as I could at that price point. But I'm not going to overpay for it on the secondary market. You know, maybe if somebody was trying to offer them for $100, I'd consider it maybe just to own one. But it's certainly not. I think you're getting some diminishing returns the higher above that you go. But this is, if you're lucky enough to have a bar local to you that has a bottle, definitely try it out. If you want to try it, it's good. I wouldn't rave to the moon about it, but it is good. Yeah, I do really like, and usually with wheated bourbons, they're a lot softer and sweeter, and this has sweet notes in it, but really those darker notes are really shining through. Again, that brown sugar, cinnamon, a little bit of molasses is really kind of, and oak is really kind of really prominent here. There's not a ton of vanilla, there's not a ton of caramel coming through, which you typically get with some of your sweeter bourbons. So really, like, it would be interesting to, in a blind flight, I don't think that you would be able to tell that this was a wheated bourbon. I think you would think this was a rye bourbon. So, but yeah, really, really good. But probably not up to the hype of what it is. So, tell me what I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Have you been able to find a bottle of this? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? If so, if you bought one, what did you pay for it? I'd love to know that. And what do you think of it? Is it worth that hype? Is it overhyped? Or have you just never seen it? So let me know. But thanks a lot for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to us. You can follow Max and myself on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Bourbon and a Baby on all those platforms. And you can check the link in the description below for our shop on Spreadshirt. You can buy some Bourbon and a Baby merchandise there. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers. That's good. Good.